What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Tuesday, April the 16th. I'm your host today, Clark Taylor. I've got a sweet crew hanging with me, fresh off Monday Night Raw. As always, we're going to get right into it, all of it. And it is Tuesday, so I got to toss this one straight to the DMV, hanging with me all day basically today on Tuesday. I got to experience his ride home. His ride home earlier. He was in the chat earlier on the ride home, but the Tuesday night delight is in the building. Get those twos up.
Finally, the Ark has come back to Tuesdays. Y'all been missing me. Everyone's like, we got the Tuesday night, but it's a Wednesday. We got the Tuesday night, but it's a Friday, it's Saturday. It's Tuesday. You know what day it is. My favorite day of the week for that very reason. And yeah, man, Monday Night Raw was a pretty good episode. WWE is wheeling out good weekly television. It's great to see. And I'm excited to watch NXT tonight, but that's just me. But y'all, let's get into it, bro.
I'm fired up too to get into it. And I was gonna say, man, talk about the man of 1,000 nicknames. We had the man of 1,000 nickname or man of 1,000 masks before with Mil Mascaris, but Tuesday Night Delight, Akbars, you got all the good ones, Shotty. It's
Oh
not fair.
yeah, I'm
You're
a man of
stealing
different
all the good
personas.
all the good nicknames. I'm kidding, but dude, it's so good to have you back on a Tuesday as usual too. And speaking of on a Tuesday as usual, got to send this one quickly across the pond. Thankfully, not on a flight. Just a quick send out there. But good friend of mine, Jordy, in the building on Tuesday. Dude, stoked to have you always. What a fun show this is going to be.
Yeah, man. I'm gassed. It's nice to be here with you two again. It's like I say, we seem to be seeing each other quite a lot on Tuesdays. I'm gonna have to start working on a nickname for myself because although I'm new,
Oh,
it can be something that sticks. So I'm thinking if I just start barking, eventually people will start calling me Big Dog. So if I just start barking every now and again, every time you throw it over to me, I'm hoping it'll catch on. So yeah, back to
uh,
you, mate.
Hey, big
I,
dog.
I
Hey.
can't lie to you, Jordy, as a guy that loves to give nicknames. I will not let the big dog die. I will not. No, absolutely. I'm in the big dog.
Let's do it.
Usually, I'm not the biggest fan of people giving themselves a nickname, but that one's apropos. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
love
it'll,
it.
dude.
it'll, it'll. I'm sure that'll stick, or somebody will think it's something.
Yeah.
We'll go with it. And
Yeah.
side note, this is a legendary episode. He has a duck, a side duck on his shirt. I have a duck on my hat.
I have, I don't have a
Cocoa
duck,
Puffs.
but I have the Cocoa Puffs guy
I'm
on the
sure a
side
duck would eat
somewhere.
a cocoa puff if it found it in the pond.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely, man. It's all about feeding the ducks at the park
Yes,
today.
sir.
And we had
Quite.
ducks on the pond last night, interestingly enough, right out of the gates. Let's get into our first topic. Rhea Ripley is hurt, injured,
Mm,
hurt or injured. That was a big thing when I was a kid. Are you hurt or are you injured? She's injured.
yeah.
This is you can't wrestle injury wise. And what is next? Not totally sure, but in a sling, clearly out. Don't know the exact details of the injury, but there's a lot of challengers here. The promo was cool. We had Liv Morgan. We also ended with at post promo, the big Judgment Day hug at the end. I liked Damian Priest's part of the whole thing. Sean, I got to get your thoughts on it though. You presented something last night when we were texting about it.
Hmm.
You said, well, there's only three options. And I want you to break those ones down for me because who is going to carry this belt when Ripley's been the plan?
All right. Well, let me say first and foremost, healthy, good recovery for Rhea Ripley.
Yep.
You have held the women's division down for the last year, champ. Get some rest, heal up. You had your mania moment. Everything is good. This is a bummer because the Monday Night Raw roster is relatively thin when it comes to mega superstars. There's Rhea, there's Becky, who I put on the top notch, and then you got people like Liv Morgan, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler following suit. Um, but I will say this, man. My man Bob Ross always says there's happy accidents. In a way, last night they made a happy accident because I think they turned what is a significant injury and a loss to the roster to a potential major storyline down the road. And I did say 3 options last night. I said it's either going to be Liv, Nia Jax is a dominant threat because she spoke yesterday, or old reliable big time Bex, the goat. But I'm gonna go with this, bro. I think Liv Morgan needs to be the next potential champion. I'll tell you
Ooh.
why. You did the double turn, right? Now it's a situation where Rhea Ripley is now going to become more beloved when she returns. We have sympathy for her. We feel upset that she's got hurt, and we have a fall guy. We have a person who caused the injury, presumably real life, but also within kayfabe in Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan needed an adjustment with the character. Liv Morgan is a person who, just because she's popular amongst the crowd, doesn't mean her character on WWE was one that was working. It's working now. She's playing kind of that heel mark a little bit better. I thought she did it good when they had the initial Riot Squad when she was kind of like the little Harley Quinn girl. But this is gonna add a new level to her, and I like it. She seems more comfortable with it. She's tweeting, laughing. The whole revenge tour. She got her ultimate revenge. I think it's beneficial for Liv, and I think it's beneficial for Rhea Ripley at the end of the day because Rhea Ripley is got the Stone Cold Steve Austin effect. She is technically a heel, but we think she's so much of a BA that we want to root for her. And at the moment, she is a baby face because everybody loves Mommy. Mommy is literally on top of the game right now. So
Yeah.
you allow her to become the baby face and you build a potential like grand stage kind of feud, in my opinion. It was a feud that we liked before and people were arguing about Mania. You can't tell me that now this is the way to go. After Mania, after Liv didn't get her moment, Liv causing injury, it's gotten even better now. So I think it should be Liv Morgan. How we get to there, I don't know. Maybe wins the tournament. Maybe her and Nia Jax can have a little feud in between to it. But I need Liv to have the gold when Rhea returns, and then we get that main stage match, whether it be SummerSlam, I don't know. But yeah, let Liv, put the belt on her.
100%, 100%. I'm with you, and I love the Liv Morgan call. Like Liv makes a ton of sense and can benefit from this the most. Sometimes, right, you got to pull some things out of the fire when things aren't going so well, and this can benefit Liv in a way that down the road pays off even further. We've got Andy Wynn, friend of the show, in the comments with Rhea Ripley injuries. Sad face, and then the praying hands emoji. Although I will say, somebody told me recently that that's supposed to be actually a high five emoji the whole time, and it's never been praying hands. That threw me for a loop. I don't think that's true. I'm going with the praying hands, prayers up. I'm just saying, like that one, right over my head. I
That'll
was
keep
like,
you
wait,
awake
what?
at night, man. That'll
Yeah,
keep you
dude, that
awake at night.
scared me to death. I was like, wait a minute, the
Man,
whole time,
my
a
whole
high
life has
five.
been a
It
lie.
looks like a high five. It started to scare me. I'm just saying. I do still think it's praying hands. We've also got another
Oh my
comment
god, that popped me. I
over.
ain't gonna lie, that's funny.
We've also got another comment over on Instagram from new friend of the show, tuned in all Mania weekend long, Isaac PXGH, and I won't call him Isaiah. I won't mess his name up again. I promise you that much. 3 to 6 weeks to get mobility back. Apparently, 3 months to get back to action. So that's cool. That is 90-day type schedule
So
for
that falls
recovery for
right
Ripley.
in falls right in time by SummerSlam. Falls right in time by SummerSlam. I'm just
It's
saying.
really good to know too, right, Shad? Like SummerSlam might be a good time. Are
Mhm.
you in agreement with Shad on Liv Morgan? Maybe a Liv Rhea matchup at SummerSlam now that we're here where we've gotten to, throughout this conversation. Jordy, I got to ask you. I mean, obviously it's tough to lose Ripley as the champion here, but there are a lot of good things that I think, in a weird way, roundabout way, can benefit everyone involved, including Ripley, despite the injury.
Yeah, man, I agree. And exactly what Shad said. Best wishes, speedy recovery to Rhea. She's been somebody who's been instrumental for me, and I mentioned it in the chat before. And I know it might sound silly, but genuinely don't know if I'd be able to enjoy wrestling the way that I do with my fiance if it wasn't for Rhea Ripley, because she's such a big fan of her and now is just a huge fan of the product. But everyone had that first person that they were a fan of, and Rhea was hers. So genuinely, like, I'll never be able to thank someone enough for that. Do you know what I mean? So to
Oh,
see her
that's
go out the
awesome.
way that she has, it sucks. It does suck. Hearing that it could be 3 months, it seems brash. It to me as well. And I'm sure they'd have had plans and stuff, but given the way that Roman was with the belt and the breaks he took, if it is 3 months, like, did they really need to take it off her? I know she's not Roman, but and obviously Seth had a break with his title, didn't defend it for a while because he got injured. Like, how long is it? You know what I mean? Because obviously 6 months, yeah, you have to relinquish, but it just seems brash. But it happened, and like you say, you're making a bad thing out of a good thing there. That's with the Liv storyline. I'm sure there's no real heat from the people backstage against Liv, and they're going to spin this and make something even better with a storyline that we were already invested in. We all kind of knew that this was coming after Mania, but it's just going to add another whole layer to it. And Liv's getting her Drew McIntyre on Twitter and just being a troll, and I think she needed that. I really do. Again, similar to what Shad said, I think because she's so popular, she even Liv was doing heel things, but still getting cheered. She wasn't really getting the boos, but she got the boos last night, and she got them loud. So think that's really going to benefit from this heel version of Liv that we're seeing. Now, this is one question that I wonder, and if it was, obviously, if it's a long injury, then you can't do this. But if it was just a 3 month injury, I would have taken this opportunity to bring in that women's mid card title that people are talking about so much, and that obviously they've done it on NXT. And I just think that if that is something that they were thinking about, now would be the perfect time, because Mammy's gone. She'd take the title with her, and there's a title to defend on Raw. So, but yeah, it is what it is. I think something good is going to come out of it. And to be honest, Rhea had a busy schedule, man. I wanted to see her go on and break the record for longest women's champion. I did, and now to kind of see it, know that she's just gone back down to zero, that kind of sucks. But I still think she might be the person to do that down the way. And yeah, let's see Liv with a belt around her. I think
Yeah.
personally it'll go to Nia first and then Liv. But I think it's important that Liv gets that chance with the belt, because I really do think she can do great things.
I agree. And I think Liv's earned it in a way. And we just need to find a way to let the crowd know how much she's earned it and deserves it
Uh,
before we get there. So I don't
yeah,
mind your idea about Nia getting it first and then having to climb that kind of
having
a
that's
mountain.
a that's just. I was also thinking of that idea too. Um, yeah. The other thing is this: we have the draft coming up. I think
Yeah.
it's very important that we, kind of add balance. Like I've said this before the last time I was on the daily. We need to get some balance on Raw and SmackDown when it
Hmm.
comes to these women stars. And we may need to like break these factions up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
damage control of it's all women in that faction are amazing, and three of them are surefire main event women. Dakota Kai, a projected potential main event woman in her
Easily.
own right, right? So like, yeah, we need to make it a little bit more fair to what Raw gets. But Liv, let's see what you could do. I think her first shake as champ was a little, it was bad booking. I think
Yeah.
it could be better this time.
I mean, we've got Matthew Daniel Leahy over here on Instagram with a classic comment here. He goes, LOL praying hands versus high five at SummerSlam. Now we're talking. Talk about a
Yes.
co-main event of the evening. No
Yes.
doubt about it. Yeah, it's he Matthew Daniel Leahy also added, this is why Roman's breaks were a problem. Nobody should be holding belts through injuries. IMO. See, I think that's different. I don't know that he was hurt. That's different. He's
Nah,
a
Hmm.
part-time,
yeah, he's part
and
timer.
in a weird way, I also think it's, absence does make the heart grow fonder, as cliche as it is.
Seth is the one that you could compare this to a little bit more because we thought that he was going to be out for a while. Um, but I think also he benefited the fact that it was Mania season and they needed him at Mania.
Yeah,
I
where
think
it
he
worked.
rushed back and he shouldn't
True,
have done by the
true,
looks
very
of it.
true.
If you
And
look
he
at the
did.
state of him by the end of Mania, he could barely walk, and it was a knee injury, wasn't it? So that knee injury obviously wasn't fixed, or he did something to flare it back up. So it wasn't a good thing, and that's what I mean. That point, I guess, when I made it, it is only relevant if it's a 2 to 3 month injury. But if it's anything longer than that, it has to happen. It
Yeah.
just does. It just the whole segment just seemed a little bit brash, and I think I said this mentioned to you guys earlier as well. Maybe it was because they played it as Rhea was really angry and annoyed, and I think deep down Rhea would have been really upset. And if you think back to CM Punk, CM Punk coming and saying I'm not going to make WrestleMania was more emotional than Rhea Ripley saying I'm dropping this belt. And I think that was because they tried to play it as Rhea was angry rather than she was upset. So I don't know. It just felt a little bit. Something about the segment was like, why I should be really, really sad, and I'm more annoyed. And as a viewer, that's not a great thing to be annoyed. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
Totally. And we got a bunch more comments really quickly to read before I take us to our next subject. But we've got DIY deserves that number one contender match against Awesome Truth for the Raw Tag Team Championships from Andy Yen, new friend of the show. Always good in the comments. I don't know if they deserve it. I love the talent, but we just have not seen. We haven't seen the execution on screen on the main roster.
They haven't given them a good characters on the main roster yet. Like, not saying they need to be some sort of character, but like they haven't like done any character work on the main roster. They just wrestle.
Right. And it's not necessarily their fault. And so that if we're attacking it from that perspective, I agree. Be booked better would be where I would start before they deserve the opportunity, right? I think they deserve the opportunity off merit because we all know the history. Those of us that watch it so much, right? As opposed to they've earned it on screen recently. And that's not the fault of either Ciampa or Gargano in any way. We got another comment here from Isaac PXGH.
I'm tripping. I don't know why I thought DIY. I'm sorry. I
You're fine.
was thinking of Creed Brothers for a second.
No, DIY.
No, DIY is awesome. I love the DX gear. But we'll talk about that. That's a later segment. My fault.
It is. Isaac PXGH. Do you think Seth will get surgery during his time off? Man, that's hard to speculate on. It's a good question. If he does, you would hope something simple, non-invasive, quick recovery, all of that stuff. I would be all over it. And then Apex Sounds added, and this cracked me up. If they don't give Nia Jax the title, I'm boycotting. Whoa, we've got a Nia Jax fan. Respect, Apex Sounds. I get it.
Amazing.
Totally. And then we have Vasanth, crazy official. Hello from India. What's going on from all over? We're everywhere.
My Desi brother, I'm from Bangladesh, man. What's up?
How are you? Thank you so much for tuning in. Always. Let's get into our next segment, though. We've got Sheamus versus Ivar. Slugfest City. This was a fight, not a wrestling match. I loved that. Now, Shad, obviously, I'm going to get to you eventually. I'm going to ask Jordy first here, but Ivar appeared on NXT, I think, while you were away.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just a little disappointed to see him get brogue kicked to oblivion, or brogue kicked to Bolivian, in the words of Mike Tyson. If we're going to push him tonight, potentially, because I think he's going to be on tonight's NXT show.
Yeah, he got the Obafemi feud coming
Jordy, obviously, you watch everything there is in wrestling too. I want to get your thoughts on that. Did you enjoy Sheamus getting the win over Ivar, or do you think this kind of stunts his NXT push, or do you view them as separate products?
I think they are separate products, mate. I do think they are. I think having the products, you can kind of use things within different shows. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that Ivar lost, if going into a feud with Obafemi can bring that up in a promo and you can use it. So it's not the end of the world. I was kind of surprised to see it myself. And I'm as happy as I am to see Sheamus back, man. It's a little bit, I just felt it was a little bit underwhelming. I felt like they didn't need to announce when he was coming back like we were all expecting him. I don't think, I'm happy to hear the old theme tune back, but I don't think the gear does him any favors. So yeah, overall, man, it was a little bit underwhelming for me. What did you guys think?
Yeah, to me too. Like it seemed like they took Ivar, who's been pushed so well, and borderline they didn't squash him, but just set him back. And that was my only disappointment because I love Sheamus as much as anybody, but we know Sheamus can fight.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Ivar was the right choice as far as opponents. Shad, definitely going to you next on this one because we're likely to see Ivar once again 24 hours later on our screen tonight. Do you think that affects what we're going to see tonight and what we're going to talk about tonight on Off the Air?
I mean, not really, because he lost to a viable threat in Sheamus, and Sheamus made his return. I thought it was more picked upon merit of who's going to give Sheamus a good fight coming back after a long uh, time being out. And I don't know, they do kind of blend the worlds of the main roster and NXT a little bit more now. But I guess this is just where Ivar's place is. He's a guy who's going to give you, a solid match. He's a, viable threat looking at you, but he's not going to get a lot of wins. He's just kind of one of these go-to people that you're gonna get a good match out of and probably take an L to. I mean, I could see the same thing happen with Obafemi. I don't imagine he'd be the guy to beat Obafemi, but he's gonna make Obafemi look good. He's gonna give Obafemi a, heck of a match. So I don't know. It depends how you look at Ivar. To me, I look at him as a guy who is kind of playing the dance partner role, where, it's not his time yet to be a champ or be a viable threat yet. So yeah.
Definitely understand that. It's a little early. We got one more comment from Chris LeClaire really quick. Rhea Ripley and Bailey were champions for 380 days in WWE history. Yeah, no, it's wild.
And John Cena.
And Cena as well. I mean, there's so many. You look at Reigns, Gunther's reign with the Intercontinental title. There's plenty of long reigning champions. It's a shame that Ripley's injury hurt it, because I know, Jordy, you mentioned that earlier, right? To break that record would have been really cool. And I was critical last year personally about her work rate as far as bell to bell, but you forget about live events, you forget about all that other stuff. And Ray can go as well as anybody in the game. There's no doubt about that. And speaking of people that can go as well as anyone in the game, let's talk about Next Level. We've partnered with Next Level over here at Wrestling Republic. And if you haven't checked them out, you're missing out. Sent 2 people to WrestleMania, VIP treatment, the whole 9. Now we're giving away 2 copies, not 1, 2 copies of WWE 2K24, the WrestleMania edition. Yep, that's the big one, $100 retail. As good of a game as you could play. Go to nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic to see all of our content across all platforms, linked all in the same spot, one place. Real easy, real simple. Go check it out. As user-friendly of an app as you can have, and I am so not the tech guy. So if it's coming from me, it's easy to figure out. Hit that Connect link, join, follow us there. You can see all of our content. Real easy. It'll be a blast. You'll love it. And you might even win a free video game. That's the best part. Let's quickly go into the Awesome Truth title ceremony. Like, this was hilarious. I didn't know that R-Truth spoke French, but he does. Of course he does. And then you have the new fresh titles, and now we have the tournament. I dug it. I totally dug it. And I dug Adam Pearce being a little heelish. Why'd you let the boss leave? Super sweet, super simple, super easy. I thought one of the sneaky good segments of the night, for sure. As far as I'm concerned, Awesome Truth, as far as they're concerned, Jordy, how do you feel about the new champs and, more importantly, the new belts?
Yeah, I like them, man. I've been saying for the longest time that any change would have been good for me, man. Honestly, you could have put spinners on them, I would have been happy. Literally any change would have been good. I see what they're going for, and I'm not mad at it. I'm most likely expecting that we're going to see the SmackDown ones resemble the WWE Championship that Cody's holding more, because obviously these world ones resemble to an extent the World Heavyweight title, and I think it's long overdue, not just splitting the titles, but yeah, just bringing back in World Tag Champions and WWE Tag Champions. I don't know why they ever kind of got rid of it. Like, I don't think you needed to make the straps red and blue to differentiate which brand they were on. It just so yeah, that was a little gripe of mine that Triple H is now looks like he's sorted. So I'm really happy about that. Truth gets his flowers every time he gets in the ring at the minute, and I'm happy. I'm happy he got his Mania moment. I've said it once and I've said it again. I do not expect them to hold these belts for too long. I feel like they will be transitional. I feel like it was more to give Truth that Mania moment. So yeah, I love the segment. I like Miz and Truth together. I think they work well. I think Pierce. I think watching Triple H on stage, struggling to keep face when R-Truth is just being R-Truth is always great to watch. I did worry that R-Truth was going to injure himself when he did that jump split though. But yeah, man, there's not too much to say about the segment itself, but I like the belts. I know they've gotten some hate online. Some people aren't that pleased with them, but like I say, honestly, you could have changed them to pretty much anything for me, and I would have liked it because I did not like the design, the shield thing that was on the previous ones. So yeah, all thumbs up from the big dog. Oof.
I love it. The big dog has 2 thumbs up on this one. I will say the circular design, I'm cool with, but I want those old school world tag team titles that like you associate with like the loop loops
Mhm.
that you associate maybe with like the New Age Outlaws,
No, I know what you
or
mean.
teams like that, right? It's got like a big plate. I
Yeah,
thought would
yeah.
be cool just to kind of separate them maybe from the SmackDown titles.
Mm.
I thought that would maybe be like the route that I would go. I don't know though. I didn't mind it, and the ceremony itself cracked me
I
up in
honestly
every
think the
way.
SmackDown ones will look more like the belt that Cody's got. I think, but that's just a prediction, not a spoiler.
That makes a lot of sense. I love that. Shoddy, what are your thoughts on the belts, real quick?
I think they look pretty good. I know a lot of people were kind of a little apprehensive about it. They got a bit of critique on it, but I mean, they look better than the last ones. The last ones were hideous, so these ones will look slightly better.
No doubt. No doubt about it. These ones are definitely, I think there's something about it being better for sure. So then we got the qualifying and everything. We've got it
Mhm.
all. DIY gets it done, right? But then we also have the Creeds, DIY, and New Day in this match.
Yeah, it's a number one contender match for the first
This is
opponent.
the most, no, hear me out here. This is the most stacked tag match qualifying wise. I'm like, if there was ever a time to do a tournament, to have done a tournament,
Mhm.
you have like the 3 most established tag teams that you could possibly book for this match. Nobody thrown together, no, like at least as far as it feels right this second.
Yeah, true.
I love that DIY went over, but I kind of thought it might be the Creed's time. What are we doing with the Creeds? With this tag division shot, talk to me about some tag team wrestling here. I mean, the New Day, we know their history, but was
Mhm.
DIY actually the right choice?
I think they're the right choice, storyline purpose. The awesome truth and them kind of have this, chemistry amongst each other. They have these funny backstage interactions. And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. People might be a little mad that I say this. I think our truth has gotten DIY over on the main roster by calling them D Generation X, getting them confused with Triple H and Shawn Michaels. I mean, you see their ring gear now, it's kind of playing off of that joke. So it is in storyline, it makes the most sense. And I think DIY probably is a team that does, put in a lot of work. I thought they were, you know, stars in the tag team ladder match at Mania. But it makes sense if they're gonna beat the Awesome Truth. Like, I don't see the Awesome Truth as a long-lasting tag team champion. Like it's just, I don't know. They're comedic, they're good, but Truth and Miz ain't gonna give you consistent tag team bangers week upon week upon week. I would like to see a more, you know, workhorse type of tag team that can get the titles and also, be viable champs. And I think DIY would be that. I don't know if they win it just 2 weeks after Mania. So if it's a opponent that is going to take a L, then I don't like it. I would have rather had one of the other two. But then again, I don't know if I want, like, I think the Creeds are the team that could benefit being the champions the most out of all of these guys, in my personal opinion. They're a team that has, you know, an immense amount of athletic ability. They're great in the ring. They're new, and that helps give them identity, like being champs. They look like guys that can just be champs. They need to be presented a lot better on the main roster. So that's what I was kind of meaning earlier. They haven't got an opportunity to build their character on the main roster, and I want to see that happen. So maybe it isn't the right time. Maybe taking an L to them that quickly could hurt them in a title opportunity. I don't know.
I hear you. Yeah, it's one of those things where like the Creeds we watched them for so long on NXT, they're so dang talented. I mean, that Brutus Ball move is absurd for
Yeah.
a guy of that size.
And
We've got an
Julius
awesome.
Creed is from a lab, man. He ain't even like a real
It's true.
human being. He's a robot.
We've got Imperium was snubbed from Saeem Shudre. Shudri.
Don't
Chaudhry.
disrespect my man's name like
Did I
that.
mess it up? Siam Chaudhry?
Siam Chaudhry.
Siam Chaudhry. I'll never mess it up again. I
That's one
promise.
of my best friends in the world.
Siam Chaudhry monster shout out. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. And if you're a friend of Shad, you're a friend of mine. Absolutely.
That's a brother to me, man. That's
What a
more than
legend. Monster shout out. Thank you always for being in the comments. But Imperium got robbed. I'm kind of with you there. Talk about a workhorse tag team, though. That's one that should have been inserted in this equation.
So it goes back to what I'm saying. If this opponent is going to lose next week, then I think Imperium would have been the perfect slotted tag team. But thing is this, bro. I don't want to come off as an awesome Truth hater. I'm glad that our Truth got his Mania moment. It's so dope to see. I don't really want them to be tag team champs for that long, though. There's so many other more talent. Like anybody in that triple threat match, I would rather see be the tag team champions. Imperium, I would rather see be the tag team champions. Veer and what's the other dude's name? Sangha. I would
It's not
rather see
Shanky
them.
anymore. I was about to say Shanky, and I'm like, it's not.
Hindu Share. I want to see them be champions, man.
I'm in for that. I'm actually totally in for that. Okay, up next, we've got another one that I would love to make fun of more than I should, but we've got Dirty Dom Mysterio versus Andrade, and shock win. Andrade goes over. Like, realistically, if we put these two dudes on a poster and told non-wrestling fans who's
Man,
going to win this match.
Dom did not do bad last night in the ring.
No, he looked
though.
fine.
He looked good last night.
Yeah,
Oh,
Dom never
that.
does bad in the ring, man. It's just I feel for him a little bit. He can't buy a win at the minute, man. Like he cannot buy a win. And I know we like to not like Dom. I get it. We all boo him and stuff. But like deep down, man, I like Dom. I want to see him actually progress. I really think that kind of perfect storm that we were talking about where we're going to make a bad thing good. I really think Rhea not being around is going to be just another thing in the long stretch of the downfall of the Judgment Day. So maybe that's why Dom's taking a loss, because maybe the Judgment Day are going to be up against it. Everyone apart from Damien, maybe. I liked Ricochet saving Andrade, man. They would be a good team together. Not that we need more tag teams, we just spoke about it, and the fact that we've got more than enough and they need to be booked correctly, etc. But yeah, I've got a feeling we're going to see Andrade and Ricochet versus Dom and JD very soon, if not at Backlash. Which again, technically, it'll probably be a good match. Oh, is it confirmed? Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there you go.
And you had a good feeling.
To be honest, I'm excited. Yeah, I know that Spidey sense of mine. But I genuinely that excites me because Ricochet and JD have proven that they can put on a hell of a match. So throw Andrade and Dom in. Good stuff, man.
No doubt about it. We got a couple more comments over here. We got Isaac PX. GH with Dirty Dom in a slump. Yes, he is. Absolutely. Over on Instagram. And then we have the Castro 92 with Andrade back to the mid-card US champ. Let's hope not. It doesn't seem like US champ is the move unless the draft shakes
Why
out
not?
that way.
Why would that be a bad? Are you saying bad thing or he said that?
No. He was saying Andrade
Oh.
back to mid-card US champ. Let's hope not. And I was saying, I'm like, it doesn't even seem possible. I'm like, bad move, good move, indifferent. Doesn't seem
Yeah,
possible until the
but why?
draft.
I'm sorry. Why would that? Why? I'm asking the commenter. Why hope not? Why is that a?
That's a good question. I
He
like,
obviously wants to see him in the main event
I think the
picture.
context is main event picture. He wants to see him elevated beyond.
he's gonna have to. He's gonna have to position himself back to that level. You know, he's. I mean, we'll be honest. He's not a main eventer right now in WWE. He
Yeah,
just got back. He's not
Yeah, no,
being
yeah, that's
presented
fact.
like a
Yeah,
main
he's
eventer.
not, yeah.
Mid
very,
card is
very,
kind
very,
of where he's at.
very true, Shad. There
What
too. That's an excellent point.
one thing though, I gotta say,
Go
Ricochet
right.
is the ultimate like plug-in tag team partner for like anybody. I feel.
You're right. You're right.
Brutal.
You're absolutely
It's
right.
true.
That's a credit to him. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He works. He'll work well with anyone, whether you're like a big guy like Braun, whether you move like Mysterio, like you know what I mean. Whether you Lucha, Ricochet will complement.
Was
the
he
heck
with
out
Matt
of
Malachi,
it.
Sydal at one point?
Alistair,
Yeah.
Malachi.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody that wouldn't. that
The
Ricochet
Alistair Black, by the way, the ride along episode with him and Ricochet where they get pulled over is maybe the funniest thing ever. When the
I've never seen
officer
that.
goes, "What's up with
Oh,
the
me
cameras
neither.
on the side of the car?" and Malachi just, or Alistair at the time, Malachi, right, looks at the officer and goes, "We're professional wrestlers. We're actually filming a show for the WWE Network." And the officer goes, "Oh, like pro wrestling? Do you guys jump off the top rope?" And Ricochet goes, "Yeah, my back's killing me." It's one of the best lines ever in that
That's
show. He goes,
that's
"Yeah,
hilarious.
my back's killing me." It gets me every time. But Anthony Manzano added, "Hey fellas, sorry for missing the past few weeks or shows. I've been dealing with a massive flu bug. Oh man, all good, Manzano. Feel better, bro.
Speedy recovery to you, bro.
Appreciate you absolutely for tuning in as always." But let's move on. We had Maxine and Ivy Nile. Maxine Dupree. I'm actually becoming a bigger and bigger Maxine Dupree fan by the week. And I hate to admit this, part of it's the social media posts. She's so positive and so cool all the time. Like,
Yeah, she's come off as an awesome person.
nearly
seems like a great
impossible
person.
to dislike. And then, speaking of, you and I have discussed this. Both have been critical of Candice LeRae, but teaming with Indy Hartwell, man, I enjoyed this, and I'm starting to really enjoy Candice LeRae as a bad guy. I dig it, Shad. Talk to me about it.
I'm wearing purple today because I love the purple pixie that has become a little demon child in Candice LeRae. I am a fan. I am liking her heel work. I think she comes off as like the biggest like insert slur word to people, and she finally got Indy Hartwell to cave in. They need to establish this tag team division for the women's roster, and this is a good way to do it for both of these teams by that way as well. Candice and Indy got great chemistry together as a tag team. The way was pretty fun and awesome on NXT, and the thing that we forget is that the peak way, in my opinion, was when they were heels. Candice is significantly better as a heel rather than a cheesy baby face, and they're letting it play to that strength of what she can do as a character. Indy falling in the line and doing it, I like it. It's an organic tag team. It adds more flair to them. I think it'll work itself out. Maxine and Ivy Nile, they also work well as a tag team and just how the story works upon it. But I'm gonna be real with you. I feel Ivy Nile's potential is not in a tag team. As much as it works, and as much as I like Maxine Dupree as a character, watching Ivy have that singles match with Rhea a few months ago on Raw, and just looking at her, bro, she's like a little like stone pit bull. She's a single superstar, and she's someone that needs to be built as a single superstar because that girl is like just like a miniature Jordan Grace for WWE. So I would like to rather see her in that, but whatever gets you on TV gets you on TV. But I'm here for it. I'm enjoying it. It's fun little weekly television on Raw.
100%. I am with you. And I love the resurgence of Candace in a way because it's not that we disrespected Candace's resume or like disliked her when we were critical of the work.
Candice LeRae is probably a better in-ring wrestler than a lot of men and women on
Good
both
as anybody.
anybody. Yeah, it's never in regards to her as a wrestler. It's solely on the character work as a babyface, and that I'm not even blaming that on her. That's just how the cards were dealt for her.
No question on that. And Jordy, do you have anything to add there on the Candace, Andy, Maxine Dupree, Ivy Nile situation?
Mate, nothing of substance. Nothing of substance,
Okay,
really.
good.
Just very much agree with what you guys are saying. I love Maxine. Think she comes across as a very nice, very great person, someone that's great to be around. It seems like the people are taking her under their wing. I completely agree with Shad. Don't think they're a great pairing, but I think the pairing outside of the ring will be doing a hell of a lot for Maxine. So I kind of understand
Yes.
it in that sense. But in terms of in the ring, I don't know how many times I can see these guys tag. And I love them all. I think they're all great. But I don't know how many times. It's got to come to a climax
I highly
soon.
agree with Jordy on that.
It's a great point.
We've ran its course at this
Mhm.
point. There's
By the way, how about
nothing of-
nothing of substance and then bring substance?
Nah,
Nothing
up,
of
man.
substance,
Oh.
full substance.
before we go to the next topic, because there's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Just put Maxine. I mean, put Candice and Indy over. Let's have them go against like another. There's more babyface tag teams that you can build. I wouldn't mind them versus Bianca and Jade as an actual like built feud for them
Mhm.
before they get to the Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah. No, Chad, I'm all over that. I love that. It's a great call. Okay. Let's get into a topic that I have been just waiting, chomping, chomping, chomping at the bit to talk about. Get your tie clips on, my friends. And I promise you, I won't ask you what you want to talk about because I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. If I wanted to eat cornflakes, I would buy more milk. And Cody Rhodes is corny carrying this belt. That's the way that I sit back and watch this. And the Jey Uso, oh, you're great. And then it goes into Uso versus Finn Balor. Somebody explain to me. Somebody explain to me. I don't get it. We've got our babyface nice guy champion out there in a suit, pretty much booking matches, as far as I'm concerned, right? Like and I get he hugged Jay, and Jay looked great against Finn Balor, but Jordy, gotta ask my famous question: what are we doing here?
Man, right. So this is the way that I've sat back and I've looked and I've seen, and I genuinely think that the people who don't like Cody with the belt right now are people who didn't think or didn't want Cody to win at WrestleMania. I don't think I've spoke to anybody that, like myself, who wanted Cody to win, who's gone, wow, I'm bored of him now. I want someone else. Like, you know what I mean? Or like, I've not thought he's been cringe. I don't really get where it's coming from. One thing that I agree with is like, what are we doing in the sense of like he said, oh, technically I'm a SmackDown guy, but don't worry, I won't be leaving Mondays, and we know the draft's coming up. So it's like, bro, what you doing? Like, just pick somewhere. You're gonna feud with the winner of LA Knight and AJ. I think obviously he did bring out the only thing of substance that he did actually say that I've remembered now is he offered to be there for Jay for the Judgment Day, and Jay said, "No, don't worry, man. I've got to do this on my own." Which maybe that was crucial to the storyline. I don't think it was. Maybe it was not crucial. Maybe it added another layer towards Jay and being the whole fact of Jay's whole thing right now is that he needs to be out on his own. He doesn't want to fall back into another faction because then he's back where he started. So he kind of does need to be on his own. So I get that. Honestly, I think they probably put him on there to sell some tickets and try and keep that sold out streak running, because this is from a Cody fan. I just don't think he was given a great deal. There was not much to say. Like if it was next Monday and we knew who won versus LA Knight and AJ, and we knew who the number one contender was, then yeah, all right, he would have something to say. That, but because all of us are kind of like, even when he was announced, I was like, what's bro gonna say? Like, what have we got to talk about? Like, when he asks, what do you want to talk about? It's like, not much.
What can
Like,
I say?
I'll talk to you next week, or wrestle. But I appreciate he's having a break because he had a very busy Mania period. So, yeah, I don't understand the hate, and I don't think it's really as much there as some people are making it out that it's there. I think it was bound to happen. I think the Bloodline squad are always more vocal on social media than the Cody squad, apart from the We Want Cody situation. But yeah, I'm a Cody man. I'm not going to get in the comments and start being like,
I hear you,
defending him. You know what I mean? I just can't be bothered doing that. I feel, but even on the build up to Mania, if I was looking in the comments, I was seeing, oh, shut up, all these crybabies going to find out what happens at WrestleMania, all the ones, you know what I mean? The comments, even at that point, were full of Rock fans and Roman fans. So it doesn't surprise me that comments and stuff like that, online, you are seeing people look like they're turning the back. But if you probably click on the profile and go back 2 posts, you probably see a post with them acknowledging, and it actually turns out there's a Roman Reigns guy. So I think, and I also think it won't make a difference to what Triple H is going to do with it in booking. Like, if they were listening to people wanting what fans wanted to people not have the belt, Roman would have dropped that belt about 18 months ago. So, like, they obviously don't pay too much attention to what fans want, do they? So, yeah, we'll see.
That one's fair. Although I will say, on the flip side of that, if you really look at it, there are some unlikable things about Cody now that he's not the underdog, carrying the belt and all of that. And that's, I think, I don't want to jump the gun because obviously I've made a lot of fun of Cody along the way. I had fun doing so, but I did always want him to finish the story. I thought it was the best story available in wrestling. He's going to honor his father. He's going to finish the story. He's going to do all of that. And I truth be told, I have enjoyed that. But there are quite a few things about Cody that are, let's call it irksome. They irk me. Right? It's not.
I'm sure you won't be the only one either, bro. I'm sure.
Yeah,
he's not Stone Cold. He's not coming out in a vest.
Right.
Like, well, you know what I mean? He's coming out in a suit that you probably can't afford, and that'll rub people up the wrong way straight away. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I totally get what you're saying.
And that's where, Shad, I got to ask you really quickly before we go to our final topic, your thoughts on it real quick, just on Cody, the whole thing, Jey Uso, title picture, all of it.
I mean, he wasn't needed yesterday. Ultimately, he didn't say anything of significance. I'm not one of these people that are gonna be super nitpicky, saying that it was the right call. It has been 9 days, guys. Let's pump the brakes of saying that it's been the wrong call. You know, some people just are a little over extreme with it. He's gonna be something different. We're used to a world champion who's barely on TV. We're gonna get a world champion who's present there day to day. So let's, it's on the book and how we're gonna present him and whatnot. But I definitely want to see the him on shows that he is gonna be tied to, dealing with storylines that he needs to be tied to. I don't think they necessarily needed him last night because we are going to talk about someone on this next topic who sold that crowd out.
No doubt about it. We got one quick comment before we go to the last topic. Honestly, I don't think this babyface run for Cody is going to last throughout his run as champion. I think he's going to turn into the bad guy once there is an actual babyface that can challenge him.
Not anytime soon.
I don't think he wants to, and that's where it's dangerous.
Not anytime soon either, bro. He's like, you see how many kids love him, how much he does for all that. WWE is different. They're not gonna turn on him anytime soon. The people
I agree, but the Rock shocked me. The Rock shocked me. So now I'm like, damn, they'll do it. And what we're about to go on to, if you go back and watch a daily from last week, I said in plain words that they will not turn Chad Gable heel because he does too many adverts. And lo and behold, here we are sat here right now. I agree, Cody, it'll take a long time, but
Right.
it just at this point now I never thought it had happened with a Rock.
Okay.
And yeah, recently I didn't think with Gable, but here we are.
We could turn this into such a broader conversation given our final topic, but we can't. We can't. We're just going to break down last night's match because personally, I think Sami Zayn is the babyface we all needed all along. All along. He's the babyface we've all needed. He has a different kind of charisma than Cody, and that's not to say that Cody's not charismatic, but he has a different kind of charisma. He has that workmanlike self-doubt, but at the same time can still turn around and be a vicious heel. And the fact that he's like close to the edge and so passionate, it bleeds through the screen and makes him, to me, a much more sympathetic figure than Cody Rhodes. And that is something that's really hard to quantify. Chad Gable, I'm a diehard fan of, lifelong fan of. I think one of the best, most overlooked talents. I was praying for Gable Gunther. We got Sammy Gunther, and I loved it. 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 Last night's match showed you how good both are. Because like you said, Sean, and I'm going to toss this to you first. Like you said, dude, Sammy sold that building out in Montreal. Did he not? And Chad helped deliver too.
Nah, man, that was one of the best TV matches I've seen so far this year, and it's not shocking at all. Um, Sami Zayn is probably one of the best baby faces in WWE since maybe like the whole Yes movement of Daniel Bryan, bro. Like he's at that level to me. I always gotta say, let's not forget how he had us on his side going into the Elimination Chamber in Montreal versus Roman Reigns. Last night, he is literally like a freaking god out there. And it's so awesome to see that same crowd that was eating at the palm of his hand when he cut that fiery promo on SmackDown before Elimination Chamber was there. And that may have been one of the greatest wrestling entrances I've ever seen in my entire life, going into from the camera shot, interacting with the crowd, like just being with his people. Absolutely loved it. I told y'all going into Mania, I thought it was the right call because this is the potential of one of the goats, man. This guy right here, and I'm excited for it. And I think it's one of these things. WWE is doing a good job with letting it play out and letting it be like, hey, let us tell the entire story because this is what Chad Gable needs. I'm sorry.
Yes,
I know
sir.
we wanted to root for him and all that, but we had to wipe the dirt off of this corny Alpha Academy stuff. I said it, to a person that
I
is
like it.
a straight killer. This is just out of the textbook of one of the ghosts, Kurt Angle. Like this is what Chad, and you saw it. Like this is one of those things where he is just at a point where the last straw completely broken. He broke down, playing Mr. Nice Guy, playing Mr. Humble, doing all that. It's got him nowhere. He's going to take things in his own hand, and this is going to be an amazing feud because this is not going to be the last time they run this. Of course,
No
I
way.
loved it. German in front of his wife after it. Thought he had his boy an honorable. Amazing, man. Kudos to both of these guys. Sami Zayn, tops it off. I will also say this: him, Seth Rollins are arguably the most two important wrestlers in the WWE in the last few years as well for the men's division because these guys put in work. Kevin Owens as well.
Yep.
Every single opportunity you give them, and they're gonna deliver, man.
It's literally plug and play to your point. I could
hmm
not agree with you more there. That is an excellent point. Jordy, I got to get your thoughts on that one, though. This Intercontinental title picture just got, in a weird way, more fun. And I thought Gunther was a blast. Like, dude, this was outstanding what we saw last night. I agree. This has got to be the first of a few. This has to be a series of matches after what we saw last night. Jordy, are you in the same boat?
Yeah, man, I think so. I think we're gonna see heel Gable, which I said, but we weren't gonna see. I didn't think it was cringe, Shad. I didn't. I thought it was not for me in terms of I wasn't the key demographic, but I think that the office liked them. That's what shocked me. I think that as a for the Alpha Academy. They always, every PLE, they seem to be promoting something on an advert. So that's what shocked me. But I'm happy for Chad Gable, because kind of why I wanted Gable to go in to Mania as the contender is because I wanted him to win. And I kind of was like, well, if he didn't win that, and I just didn't believe he was going to turn heel. So that was never entered my mind. I always thought they won't turn him heel, so it's going to be one of these options. But they've big fat gone and done it. And I think he'll do stellar work, like you said, shades of Kurt Angle. Now Sami's doing this Rocky thing, man, and I know we did Rocky 3, or Rocky 4, but like maybe we've just found an Apollo Creed in Chad Gable, because he on paper is the perfect athlete in terms of he's the perfect wrestler. If I was anybody coming into America, because wrestling is such an American thing, Chad Gable would be the last person that I would want to go against. He'd be the first person I'd want to learn from, and he'd be the last person I'd want to go against, because I'd just be like, he embodies everything that is American wrestling. So yeah, I think leaning into that, and I'm excited to see him cut a promo. He'll stop shooshing people, I guess. But I hope that at the end of this, Gable does end up with a title. I still do. I still think he needs it. And I still think he can use that. It just means more. But it's turned him sour rather than it being humble. So yeah, I'm gassed to see it. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen next week. And that's the end. That's the name of the game. You know what I mean? That's what I'm here for. It's a business. Because of what happened, I'm so excited to watch next week's show. So they've done the job.
110%. On top of that, like you said, with the American grappling, folk style, he's an expert, but freestyle, the Gable grip, Dan Gable, the famous Gable grip exists. That's key. It's synonymous with his name when it comes to American grappling, and it comes to the Olympics, all of that. And to see him being pushed, like you said, Kurt Angle-esque, more serious, because, you know, Shoddy made some great points about there was some corniness, hokiness, I would almost even call it, when it comes to that group with Otis and everything. I didn't hate it. Like you said, Jordy, the company loved it. They were in all kinds of advertisements, but it has kind of it hit its ceiling. It hit its ceiling, and it's time to pivot, take it a little more serious, few more Gable grips into there. I love that. It's my favorite. One of the best grips in all of grappling.
I say the reason I say that to a point, and it's not to trash the entire, they made a lot of money. They did that. It got over, right? But a comedy character can only last as champion for so long before everyone's like, all right, man.
Only goes so far.
Yeah, and Gable is a guy who's just immensely talented at this, and they were good as heels too. Let's not forget, Alpha Academy were heels first, but
they were great as heels.
Yeah,
Shoosh got over.
Exactly.
Do you think Otis will turn heel with him?
I don't know.
I hope so. Otherwise, I'm worried for his
Gable and the Creeds.
See, I told Ben we could go 3 hours if we had to. This does bring us to the end of the show, though, my friends. Seriously, it's been a blast. On behalf of me, Clark Taylor, the Tuesday Nights at Light Shoddy, the newly named Big Dog himself, Jordy. He's barking back there. Let's go. Means the world to us. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do. It's awesome. Have an excellent Tuesday. If you have no plans tonight, check us out in about 6 hours and 14 minutes from now. It'll be me, Shad, and Drizzy on Off the Air. Thank you, everybody that tuned in. Have an excellent Tuesday. We'll talk to everybody soon.